A really cool Laravel package that is going to help us debug our applications or make our applications better is Laravel debugbar. Go ahead and install it, and if you're using Laravel 5.5 like I am, all you need to do is run composer require Laravel debugbar as notified right here, and that's it. You're ready to use it. So I've installed that, and if you can see in all my views, I have this bar right here. Now if we check out this page where we are actually viewing the lesson and we have our player, check out for example what we have here. We have analysis for everything, the views, routes, queries, and if you check right here, it gives us information about the queries. It says we have 12 statements executed to our MySQL database and 7 of them were duplicated, and that's really poor for performance, right? Because we can't make a query and then make it 7 times. Okay, it really slows down our servers, our application. So now why we have that is, look at this query right here to get the next and previous. We're creating that query once, twice, up to 7 times. Therefore, to remove that duplication, we're going to be using our debug bar, create a little bit of refactor, check if everything has changed till we actually have no duplications. Okay, so let's go ahead and take care of that. Now the idea I have, I'll head over to my watch.blade.php, is we can either pass the get previous lesson and get next lesson from our controller, but I don't want our controllers to be bloated. So what we can do is actually get it right here. So we can open up here and PHP, and we can assign a next lesson variable to be equal to lesson get next lesson right here. Okay, and this is totally okay. We can also get previous lesson equals lesson get previous lesson right here. Okay, so just assigning those variables, and right here we can say if next lesson. So rather than calling that method again and making another query, we say if next lesson, and right here we can say if previous lesson. Okay, and then this right here where we have that error for getting the next lesson URL, remember if we don't have a next lesson, it's gonna actually break. So what we're gonna do is we're also gonna wrap it in an if statement. So if there is a next lesson, then we're gonna pass that prop to Vue.js. So right here I'm gonna say if next lesson and if right here, then we're gonna pass this prop. Okay, then where we have our methods, rather than calling next lesson, we can just say next lesson id. So we're using exactly the same variable, therefore no queries. Okay, so right here also get next lesson, we'll change this to next lesson and we'll get the id. Get previous lesson, we'll change that to previous lesson and we'll get the id. Okay, so I think we touched everything. Let's just refresh now to see if our number of queries has reduced. Refresh, and we have undefined variable lesson error right here. I'm sorry, that's because I'm using a capital. It's supposed to be a small. I'm sorry about that. Refresh. Okay, so let's look at what we have. 9 statements executed, only 2 were duplicated and 7 were unique. Okay, but I think what we actually did fixed the error about visiting the next page. So let's try to visit next lesson, and this is actually the last lesson, and we don't have that error because the prop that is passed to Vue.js now is null. So if we check out Vue and check out our player, our next lesson URL is undefined. Okay, now let's head over to Vue.js, to our player, and we're gonna tell Suite Alert what to do. So here in our display video ended alert, I'm gonna say if this.next lesson URL, then what we're gonna do is display this alert, right? And then if we don't have that, then we're simply gonna display this right here. You completed this series because that's the last lesson, right? So here you completed this series and then nothing happens. But then if we have a next lesson, then it's going to redirect to the next lesson. Okay, so let's try this out. Hard refresh. Let's start with the previous lesson, and I'm just gonna fast forward my player to the end, and yeah, we have the alert. If I click on OK, it redirected me to the next lesson automatically. If I play this one and just fast forward it to the end also, great, we have the alert that says, yeah, you completed this series. Okay, that's great. Yeah, so you might want to maybe redirect the user to the home page after he completes the series, or you might want to do nothing at all like we're doing right now. It's all okay, and it depends on you. But we are not yet tracking the success of the user. We are not yet knowing if he has completed a series or something like that. So what we need to do right now is player.onEnded. When the video has ended, we need to fire an AJAX request to the server, complete the lesson for the user, and then when we receive a confirmation from our server, then we are going to display video ended alert. Okay, try to figure that out, and we're gonna do it together in the next lesson.